What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? This is your host, Neil Villapiano, and welcome back to another edition of Mofobo Network Presents here on YouTube, the best place to get the most up-to-date news and exciting topics going on in the wide world of sports. As always, thank you guys so very, very much for taking some time out of your day to check this video out. And if you like this video, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, and also hit that notification bell so you don't miss any new videos that we post here on YouTube every single Wednesday. We always have, as I've mentioned before, exciting topics and, great content to give you guys here on Mofobo Network Presents. And today is certainly, without a doubt, no exception. Today, I want to talk about, as you can probably see from my background and also the title of this video, I want to talk about, in my opinion, the most up-and-coming and exciting quarterback wide receiver duo in the National Football League. This duo has led their team to first place in their division and looking like a team that could very well compete for a Super Bowl championship this season. So, without further ado, as I always say, let's kick some Mofobo. So the wide receiver quarterback duo I am referring to, as again you can see from my background, is of course Stefon Diggs and Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. They are, in my opinion, the next up-and-coming duo in the National Football League. They have done very well in their first season together. Stefon Diggs was traded from the Minnesota Vikings this past offseason, actually this past March, to Buffalo to give Josh Allen, who is entering his third season in the National Football League, or at least right now he's, almost wrapping up his third season in the National Football League. They finally gave him a number one wide receiver. Now, in order for me to kind of, explain to you guys why I think this way, I want to give you a little bit of background on both of these players and where they've come from to getting to this point. So let's start with Josh Allen. First of all, Josh Allen was barely recruited out of high school. Even though he was 6'3" and well over 200 pounds, people just didn't see him as a legit college starting quarterback. So with that, he actually had to go play at Reedley Junior College for 1 year, where he actually put up a lot of gaudy numbers. I believe he also took them to a junior college championship. So you would have thought that doing that type of damage would have allowed Josh Allen to get some really good, recruitment. But again, he didn't get very much. And he actually ended up choosing to go to one of the only two schools that offered him a scholarship, and that was the University of Wyoming, the Cowboys, and where he went there and played for 3 years. And his junior year, he really put up a lot of really impressive numbers. And I think he was kind of considering going in the draft the year before he actually did consider it. But he was actually convinced by his coaching staff and by other people, including his family, to stay, finish school, and finish out his senior year. And while his senior stats weren't as impressive as his junior stats, he still was going to be considered a good quarterback. He actually did very well in the Senior Bowl, and that kind of elevated his draft stock. So a lot of people saw Josh Allen as a first-round quarterback. They just weren't sure exactly where he was going to go. Sometimes in the draft, where in mock drafts you see, oh, well, this quarterback's definitely going to go to this team in everybody's mock draft. But for Josh Allen, it kind of just went up and down. Nobody could really figure out exactly where he was going to end up. And what ended up happening was that the Buffalo Bills traded up to the number 7 overall pick from number 12 with Tampa Bay and ended up selecting Josh Allen with that pick. So the Bills were obviously looking for a franchise quarterback. They really liked Josh Allen. They expected him to be in that, top 10 range, and they wanted to move up and take him. And that's what they did. And I remember I was speaking to somebody who, when Josh Allen was drafted, he said to me, look out for this kid to be the best of the bunch in this quarterback draft. Now, obviously, you can make a debate about guys like Lamar Jackson, who's won an MVP, Baker Mayfield, who's definitely looking like he's finally, showcasing the type of talent that he is. But Josh Allen really, I think, is the one that most people at least, didn't really see coming. And Josh Allen has done really, really well. Now, record-wise, it got off to somewhat of a slow start. The Bills went 6-10 in his first year. But the next year, They started off the season winning their first 2 games, albeit against the Jets week 1 and then against the Giants in week 2. But it seemed like to me that once they got to that 2-0 start, they really believed in themselves that they could be a competitive team and do really well. And as a result, they ended up going 10-6 and unfortunately losing in a crazy wild card game against Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans. And one of the criticisms that Josh Allen received from that game was that he had fumbled a couple times in that game and almost cost the Bills a chance to at least go down and try to win the game later on in that one. They obviously didn't end up winning anyway, but still, they could have lost it a lot sooner than they actually did. So a lot of people were wondering, what type of player are we going to see from Josh Allen going into year 3? And to be honest with you, what I think he did really well this offseason is that he developed himself into much more of a passer. He is very mobile, which is good, and he's a big dude, 6'3", nearly 6'4", and over 200 pounds. He can really, be mobile. He can lower the shoulder if he has to, but obviously Sean McDermott and the coaching staff wants him to focus primarily on being a passer. And the Bills front office wanted to help Josh Allen and really help the Bills take the next step, because I think the Bills realized that now they were on the up and up and they were looking to try to add some pieces to be a competitive team. And I think they were willing to give up some draft compensation to do so. And as a result, they saw that the disgruntled Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Stefon Diggs wanted out of Minnesota. The Bills decided to make an offer and the Vikings accepted that. And we'll get into that in just a moment. But so far through 13 games this season, the Bills are 10-3 in first place in the AFC East. And for Josh Allen, his stats are without a doubt the most impressive in his still very young career. He's completed just shy of 69% of his passes. He's thrown for 28 touchdowns to just 9 interceptions. And then when it comes to his mobility, his scrambling ability, actually, he's carried the ball 93 times for 350 yards and 6 touchdowns. So if you combine those stats, he has over 30 touchdowns this season. And in my opinion, he has really showcased himself as an MVP candidate. This year is the most kind of head-scratching situation when it comes to MVP. It seems like every week it changes. Patrick Mahomes this past week threw 3 interceptions, and people are saying, that wasn't great. He still threw it for over 400 yards, but 3 interceptions, Then you see, obviously, Russell Wilson had that down game 2 weeks ago against the Giants, and people were saying, is he going to be an MVP candidate? You still have Aaron Rodgers. You still have Lamar Jackson, but I think his chances are very slim. And then you have Josh Allen, who I think, in my opinion, out of these guys, has been the most consistent since the season began. And that's something to keep in mind. And the Bills, by the way, are coming off a big victory against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have now lost 2 in a row. So there's a lot of question marks when it comes to, are the Steelers, for real? As it's not really looking like that, considering how they've lost the last 2 weeks to Washington and now Buffalo. But clearly, Josh Allen is having his best season of his career and should certainly be a top 5 and maybe even top 3 MVP candidate this upcoming season. But now I want to shift to Stefon Diggs and how this marriage between him and Josh Allen has worked so well. Stefon Diggs was actually a 5th-round pick coming out of the University of Maryland back in the 2015 draft. He was taken by the Vikings. Obviously, nobody thought that Stefon Diggs would become the receiver that he is now. Through Diggs' first 4 seasons between 2015 and 2018, he got better and better with different quarterbacks, the likes of Sam Bradford, Case Keenum, and Kirk Cousins. And, I hate knocking on those guys, but when you look at those 3 guys and then you look at Josh Allen, that's pretty, Josh Allen is clearly the best of the bunch that Stefon Diggs has done with. And the fact that Diggs has had a lot of the success that he's had with, let's call it mediocre quarterback talent around him, that's pretty impressive. So that kind of mediocrity from the quarterback position and the fact that the Vikings were not winning a whole lot other than that miracle run in 2018 when they nearly got to the Super Bowl, that kind of made Diggs become very, very angry and tired of the mediocrity, particularly with Kirk Cousins. If you remember last year, he was really, saying a lot of critical things about, Kirk Cousins as a leader and as a decent quarterback, and that Diggs wasn't getting the ball as much and all those things. And even though things kind of calmed down as the season progressed, Diggs still made it pretty clear that he pretty much was done being in Minnesota. And so the Vikings knew that they had to find a way to move on from him. And they got a really good deal from the Bills, like I mentioned. The Bills traded a first-round pick, a fifth-round pick, and a sixth-round pick, and also a 2021 fourth-round pick for Diggs, and a seventh-round pick going back to Buffalo. And the Vikings used that first-round pick that they got from Buffalo to draft Justin Jefferson, who, in my opinion, is probably the rookie of the year. And I know that some people might say that, oh, well, look at you compare to, how much money Diggs is making to how much Justin Jefferson is making. Jefferson is making the, I guess you would say, the rookie maximum, whatever you want to, or rookie minimum, whatever amount of money they're making. So the Vikings actually shed some salary and still got a receiver that's just as good already as Stefon Diggs. So in a way, did the Vikings win this trade? I think both teams won this trade considering the success that they had. The Vikings still have some ways to go when it comes to building their team, and the Bills were looking for an immediate number one receiver. Now, Justin Jefferson could have been drafted by the Bills, and they could have a number one receiver for very little money. So you can criticize them for that. But again, hindsight is 2020, obviously, pun intended. And you never really know exactly if it's going to work out or if it doesn't. We didn't know that Justin Jefferson was going to be this good. He did very well, don't get me wrong, at LSU with Joe Burrow. But I think a lot of people didn't expect him to do the type of damage that he's done so far this year. But again, in my opinion, I just think it's worked out for both sides. And to me, I think Diggs has taken another step in becoming, one of the top 10 receivers in the National Football League because of the fact that he has a talented quarterback like Josh Allen. So far this year, Diggs has exactly 100 catches for 1,167 yards and 5 touchdowns. So obviously, touchdowns-wise, this is one of the lower years for Stefon Diggs. But when it comes to catches and when it comes to receiving yards, Diggs is already in position to, have those be career highs. So that's really good. Now, if the Bills can find a way to get the ball to him more in the end zone, that just makes it all the more lethal. But because, you have teams looking to try to slow down Diggs, other guys like Cole Beasley are stepping up and making plays as well. But nonetheless, Allen and Diggs are really doing a tremendous job together. I think you could certainly, you asked the question, as you can see from the title of this video, can you dig it? I mean, really, I think that's really what it is. I certainly dig with it, considering how well these two guys have played together. But I think a lot of credit also goes to head coach Sean McDermott and offensive coordinator Brian Daboll. So when Sean McDermott came to the Buffalo Bills, he was considered a defensive guy. He was the defensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers for several years, especially when they went on to play in the Super Bowl and Super Bowl 50. So clearly he was an up-and-coming possible head coach. And usually with defensive coordinators who become head coaches, it doesn't always work out. But with Sean McDermott, he's done a tremendous job when it comes to coaching and someone building this team, building in his image. He's focusing primarily on the defense, and he found a really good offensive coordinator, Brian Daboll, who has some really good experience working at Alabama and having success there, and a couple stops here in the National Football League, especially with the New England Patriots. It's worked out for him, and they've done very well, and the play calling has been really aggressive. The running game obviously needs to improve. They need to find a number one running back. I think that they're struggling, in games to do that, but if they can get that rolling, it's good. So the Buffalo Bills at 10-3 are clearly going to win the AFC East, in my opinion. They're going to be one of the top seeds going into the postseason. And could they be a team that could make a run at possibly getting to the Super Bowl? It's 2020, ladies and gentlemen. I think, honestly, anything is possible. But I will say this. Stefon Diggs and Josh Allen, this has been a perfect marriage, and it's not even done yet through its first season. I hope that the Bills try to keep both of these guys long-term, because I think if they continue to add pieces on both the offensive and defensive sides, this is a team that not only can compete to go to a Super Bowl, but certainly compete to go win a Super Bowl. So my question to you guys, as you can see, like I said before from my title, can you dig it with Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs? Now, before I go, I just wanted to make a quick special announcement that's going on, career-wise for me. As you guys already know from the outro and all the announcements I've made over the past handful of months, I did put out my first book titled JETS Pain, 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 which is about the pain and suffering of being a Jets fan, talks about all the painful memories and painful games and everything that revolves around pain with this organization. And, quite frankly, they're living up to it, with everything that's going on this year. But this book is perfect for the Jets fan in your life. If you're a Jets fan, a football fan, if you know someone who's one of those, or if you just want to support me, please go check that book out. As always, I would greatly appreciate it. It's for the price of $19.69, available for hardcover and ebook. If you're a Jets fan, you probably guessed why I chose that price. But that's not the announcement that I want to make. I want to make a very special announcement to say that I am super excited to announce that I have published my second book. Yes, that's right. I have published my second book, and here it is, Meet the Mets Mess, the REGRETS of New York Town. That is correct. This book is about the regrets of being a New York Mets fan. So a little bit similar to the Jets book, but this one, instead of pain, it just talks about regrets, all of the moves that the Mets have made, from trading away Tom Seaver, letting guys like Nolan Ryan go, his relationship with Jose Reyes, Carlos Beltran, even David Wright, all of those games that, could have gone the other way in favor of the Mets and everything like that. So again, it's another book that I've written. I'm super excited to share it. It's available right now, like the Jets book, on Amazon and eventually on Barnes & Noble for hardcover and ebook for the price of $19.69 as well. Yes. And if you're a Mets fan, you probably guessed why I chose that price. So again, please go check out this book as well. I would greatly appreciate it. Meet the Mets Mess, the REGRETS of New York Town. Hey guys, it's your host, Neil Villapiano. Thank you guys so much for checking out this week's video here on Mofobo Network Presents. I greatly, greatly appreciate that you guys took some time to check this out. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure to leave a like, also subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos that we post every single Wednesday, and also just leave a comment and let me know what you guys think of the video and everything else like that. So please do that. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. If you want to check out more of this YouTube channel, like I said, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Also, make sure to subscribe to the Mofobo Network Facebook page, where there you can stay up to date with the new videos that we post. We also have a podcast for Mofobo Network. It's called Mofobo Network Podcast, where it's available on Anchor and Spotify. Just like here on Mofobo Network Presents, we post new episodes of the podcast every Tuesday and Thursday, talking about the most up-to-date topics and content in the wide world of sports. So please go like and subscribe to that as well. You can stay up to date with the podcast, just like Mofobo Network Presents as well, on the Mofobo Network Facebook page. You can follow me on my personal Twitter at THENVPSHOW, and also on my personal Instagram at NVPQB11. If you want to continue to check out great content that I put out, you can check me out as the host of the Devils State of Mind podcast, which is the New Jersey Devils hockey team-based podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network. On this podcast, in which we post new episodes every single Monday, I talk about all the news and notes and all exciting things happening with the New Jersey Devils, as well as hockey news in general. We have great guests that come on with some just great stories and so much fun. So please go check that out as well. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts. So SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, wherever. Just search Hockey Podcast Network or Devil's State of Mind, and you'll find it. Please also go check out hockeypodcastnetwork.org, where there you can see all the team-based podcasts and just other great hockey podcasts that we have on this network. So if you're a hockey fan, or if you're not, or if you just want to learn more about the sport, please go check it out, hockeypodcastnetwork.org. We have a Twitter for the Devil's State of Mind podcast at Devil's State. We have an Instagram at Devil's State of Mind. And just like Mofobo, we have a Facebook page where there you can stay up to date with the new episodes of the podcast posted every single Monday. And also on all of those, there is a link to the Devil's State of Mind website, where also if you just bookmark it, you can see all the new episodes that we post. So please go check that out as well and support me on there. And last but certainly not least, Go check out my book right now on Amazon.com as well as Barnes & Noble. It's titled JETS, Pain, Pain, Pain. It's about the pain and suffering of being a Jets fan for the Jets fan. And so, I mean, obviously you look at the fact that the Jets off to an 0-3 start, not really that great. But this book will certainly help you understand more about, why the team is the way that they are, why they've been this way for so long. We go through a lot of great painful stories, painful moments, painful player decisions, and everything else. So please go check that book out. If you're a Jets fan or a football fan, if you know someone who's one of those, or if you just want to support me, go check it out. It's available for hardcover and ebook for the price of $19.69. And if you're a Jets fan or a football fan, you probably guessed why I chose that price. So please go check it out on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Again, JETS, Pain, Pain, Pain. So thank you guys very much once again for checking out this edition of Mofobo Network Presents, and we will see you in the next video. And as I always say at the end of every single video, no matter what's going on in the world, no matter what hardships you might be dealing with, just remember when you wake up in the morning to think positively, have a smile on your face, and kick some Mofobo. So thank you guys very much, and God bless.